It's the new 2009 Zipp Hub, both front and rear. These are the ZTech model, which don't vary at all from the standard, except that you've got the option of the different color anodizing, and you get the CNC dimpled surface, which don't come on the standard Zipp Hub. What I'm going to do is show you how to take it apart, what needs to be maintained, how to do it, how to put it back together, and then how to adjust your preload. Okay? Basically, to take this guy apart, pop the axle cap off the end. Actually, take the preload adjustment nut off. Let's go ahead and slide the axle out. Okay? As you do that, you want to make sure the parts that don't get lost are the red spacer seal on the non-drive end, small 0.25 mil spacer that's in between the bearing and the free hub body, and then obviously any pieces of the free hub body. Once you've got it unassembled, I'm going to slide this off, put a small amount of Mobil 1 or a light grade oil onto the axle body itself, put it back on. You want to make sure all of these move freely, all the pawls move freely, and a small dab of, again, like a Mobil 1 onto the pawl radius itself at the bottom and in between. Make sure you get your spacer back on. You want to make sure that the ratchet ring itself is all clean. Everything inside the ratchet body itself is clean. And then a small amount of Mobil 1 on all the ratchet teeth itself, or themselves. Okay? Reassemble the axle. To get it back in, take 3 fingers, actually compress each of the pawls, and it'll pop right into place. Okay. Now the seal itself, there's 2 ways you can run the seal, and this is important to note. There are small machined O-ring grooves in the OD and ID of this seal. If you are in a full race application and you want the least amount of rolling resistance or friction, take those O-rings out. It's going to save you between a watt and a half of actual rolling resistance. For standard daily riding, or especially if you're riding in climate conditions where there's a lot of moisture, a lot of dirt, grime, rain, make sure you leave those O-rings in, because that completely seals this hub off from water penetration. Okay, when you put your seal back in, there's a small shoulder on the backside that actually goes against the bearing. Put that in. Take your adjustment, your preload adjustment nut, put it back on. Take it down, just get it close in place. Put the axle cap back in. Okay? Then, when you actually put this into the fork dropouts or the truing stand, if you're rebuilding the wheel, okay, you leave this loose, put those in, actually load the quick release. The standard Zipp quick release can generate as much as 1,000 pounds of clamping force. What that does is that actually loads that axle and can compress it as much as 4 to 5 thousandths of an inch. Doesn't seem like a lot, but when you add that back into the bearing load or bearing play, it completely changes how this rolls. So load that down, back that off so you know that it's loose. Take it just to the point where it touches, back off 1/8 of a turn. Then take a 2 mil Allen into that small adjustment nut, tighten it into place. Okay? It doesn't have to be hernia tight, just enough that it's not going to back off. That's going to set your preload with the quick release pressure on there. Then you can take the quick release off and do whatever you need to do with it, but you know that your preload is set right.